Well, hello. Hi, how are you, Lazy?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. My name is Evan. This is Greg. We host a podcast called Worldwide Tea, where every week we talk about the international drag race seasons, the non-US ones. And so we've been
Your
covering
bravery.
you. We've been covering you from the get, and it's just really exciting to meet you. Not to brag, but we really had you pegged as a winner pretty early on in the
Oh
season.
my God. I love to be pegged.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. Of course, we have tons of questions for you right out the gate. It's interesting because we're doing this interview weeks after you were declared the winner as well. I've seen some interview presses where like it's still surreal, you're still processing it. Weeks later, has it settled in yet, or is it still kind of wild that it's still even happening?
Well, of course, since I was crowned a matter of weeks ago, they have since crowned, I think, 58 new drag queens into the Drag Race Extended Universe.
Approximately.
Um, so yeah, I pretty much I'm forgotten at the, no. I think my imposter syndrome is finally kind of dying down a little bit. Um, yeah, it's a really surreal thing to win and then immediately go on Christmas break and like you're just suddenly with your family like watching Wicked at the cinema in like a small country town. So very bizarre kind of like switch there.
Hmm.
But also you're in Australia, so a nice and warm Christmas break. Unlike the
Sun
rest,
umbrella. Yeah,
hot, warm.
very hot. We just oh my God, I don't know Fahrenheit, but wait, it was like insanely hot the other day. Which is that like we live in the devil's country.
Which is always the best way to do drag in insanely hot weather, correct?
I think this is why Ginger Minge loves Down Under so much because as a Floridian girl, she's the only one that truly understands our pain of getting like uh, oil-based makeup to adhere to a sweat-slicked face.
Yeah, truly. I mean, the challenges you have to go through, the innovations you have to go through.
You know
We
that in New Zealand they had to bring down this specialty air conditioner that didn't currently exist on the in the country for Drag Race specifically because they didn't have a large enough air conditioner unit to make the studio cold enough for RuPaul to possibly consider going into that room. And it needs to be guarded overnight. It's the most insane thing because they can't close the doors because of how big the air conditioner is. So
Wait,
there's a security guard at the studio day and night.
I want to know about this. So you'd heard that it was super cold. When you showed up, was it as cold as you thought it would be, or was it even more freezing?
No, it wasn't because Michelle is a tiny little woman. She doesn't have the insulation of body fat. So instead it was kind of like a mix between cold and then like they had warm days where they just didn't turn the AC on and I think Michelle was like paying them off. And like Michelle and the twinks of our season, anytime the AC went on, were like freezing. Like Max Drag Queen and Freya, like that's the reason there was that romance. They needed to like the warmth to
for
survive.
body heat.
Yeah. Yeah.
But listen, before we definitely want to dive into your season, but we would be remiss to not bring up the horrible passing that has just happened over the past 36 hours. And I know that Vivian has toured in Australia, and a number of Australian queens even met her. And I don't know if you ever had a chance to meet her or if you had any memories, but if you could share at all, we'd love to hear any of them.
I mean, no, I didn't have the opportunity to work with her, but I was such a fan. Like, I think she was truly one of the funniest drag queens to ever appear on the show. Like, it is absolutely obscene to have such a young person disappear from our kind of our world. Like, it is crazy. Um, I don't think that we're gonna have another the Vivian, and
Mm,
it's just shocking. Like really, really, it's like Chi Chi. Like it's just like it
Yeah.
doesn't make sense.
yeah.
Bizarre.
Not at all. But thank you for those comments. I we appreciate it, and the community is clearly going through something still. I don't think this is gonna go away. But I do have to ask you, you're about to see the community. You're heading to DragCon
Yeah.
UK, correct? Are you excited?
Well, yeah, as I mean, talking about the weather, like the UK is having its coldest ever like January days. So I've really picked an incredible time to go and wear not much. But hopefully the convention center we're in, I hope it's a convention center, has heating. Get a dream. But yeah, obviously like the passing of Viv is gonna like it's gonna be
Way
very
out.
proud, yeah, going to her home convention.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice though to be with community at a time like this. I think like a lot of people have been really like going through it. A lot of just her fans as well.
Hmm. Well, and I think that it's like it will be a wonderful place of celebration, but also a place of, truly not just mourning, but genuine appreciation of her life as well. And I think that's the one thing the
Yeah.
drag community does almost better than anyone else. And to that end too, you are on right now a one of the most celebrated seasons of Down Under to ever run, truth be told. We had some questions about it, but the one thing I want to know, and we know there's NDAs and things always involved, but did you know when you arrived on set if this was going to be a Michelle hosted season?
Oh yeah. I mean,
Okay.
God, yes. So they called us up like maybe a week after we'd been cast and we're like, we want to let you know something. Like Michelle, like Rue will not be appearing this season, and you'll have Michelle instead, like blah 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 blah. If this changes anything for you or whatever, like let us know. And I was thrilled. I mean, like I couldn't think of anything better. I mean, I still don't believe that RuPaul actually exists in the world because it's just kind of impossible to comprehend that she might exist. So this maintains my continuity.
Oh, let me
Right.
tell you, I live in West Hollywood. She used to ride her bike to the CVS all the time. She exists. She's alive.
And that sound of
Yeah.
Every
But
time.
but I have to ask about that. Was that a sense of not relief, but did you go in maybe less stressed than you potentially could have if Rue was hosting? Was there any sense of like, okay, I got this now more than maybe before?
I mean, 1,000%. Being judged by RuPaul, I think, is a lot because so much of Ru's brand and energy is about being this untouchable goddess. So I think being in her presence might be a bit too overwhelming. Whereas Michelle's persona is about being approachable and kind. Um, and the first time I ever did a drag on stage was for like a club competition they did called Clash of the Queens that Michelle was judging. So it was
Oh,
like the continuity of Michelle judging me the very first time I was on stage, and then like the time that I'm winning on stage, the like Down Under crown was like very like whole loop kind
Full
of.
circle. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. What is it? Like angel numbers. We're seeing them.
Absolutely. Well, I am curious that you do have your degree in film, and I know you have mentioned in interviews before that you want to maybe use some of your prize money towards a film project. But I'm curious too, in the realm of live TV, how was it seeing the live reaction to you week over week? People online, all the different comments and things like that. Did you have a sense of what that would be like before? Did they prep you? And also, did anything change or happen in that process of seeing people like react to your runways and your performances every single week?
I so they do protect you a little bit. They provide a psychiatrist that like contacts you throughout the competition. Um, and so that was really good, like kind of to monitor how the online stuff was going. But I had early on like made a decision that I was going to try and insulate myself as much as possible. So instead of kind of being on my phone or on social media, I had friends who were doing it for me, like checking stuff for
Oh,
me.
nice.
Just because like even the positive stuff is quite overwhelming. Like I don't think like human beings are really built to like absorb that amount of attention.
1000%.
And yeah, I found it like I mean like watching the show was like really intense already because it was like I hate to kind of like I love doing drag, but I hate to be perceived. Like I hate to like I love putting it out there and getting to see it through my eyes, but as soon as I see footage of me doing it back, I'm like, that's not how it looked. I was the most beautiful woman in the world. And
Right.
then you see it and you're like, I'm just a sweaty man in a dress. What the fuck? Who replaced the footage? So yeah, it was really intense. But I mean, like, from what was kind of passed on to me by my boyfriend and friends, it was like it was so lovely to see people enjoy these things that like to be honest I'd kind of forgotten about by the time I'd gotten back because I was like over like I'm like I don't care about that thing anymore like that stupid hologram mask who gives a shit like that's sitting in my house and to see people like re-experience it for the first time all at once was like oh I do remember why I liked that.
Yeah.
Well, I did want to ask about that. I was rewatching the bitch slap moment, which was one of the funniest moments of the show, and I wouldn't have necessarily expected that if someone did it on a list, but I was laughing out loud during it. When you guys were there, did you think that was funny? Were there things that you thought were, oh, that might be okay, and then it like popped and you guys were surprised?
I mean, like we were pretty much having a ball the entire time, and by that point in the competition, I think we'd kind of forgotten that anyone else was gonna see it. So we were doing everything just to kind of make us like each other laugh. And Michelle was part of that. Like she was so whenever she'd come into the workroom each morning, we would like spend all this time while they were setting cameras and lights and everything, just like going back and forth with her and like having chit chats about this and that. So it was like just an extension of the vibe in the room, really. The vibe in the room. Fucking hell. Can't ever say vibe again.
Well, thank you so much, obviously, for the time. We do have one last question for you, though, because one
Yeah.
thing that we do at the end of every episode is that we always like to shout out on our end a queen that deserves some attention, whether it be a Rue girl or a non-Rue girl, but someone who just could always use that additional boost on there. So we want to ask you the exact same question there. Is there one queen out there, Rue girl or no, that everyone should be out there, should be following on the socials and whatnot?
I mean, it's my sister, my drag sister, of course. If you want kind of more of the like this like my style of comedy, please check out Zelda Moon. Listen to our podcast, Death to Everyone, which is found everywhere good podcasts are sold. And yeah, she's funny than I am. She's great. I love my sister. Yeah,
Yeah.
Zelda Moon.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. We're so happy to have you on, and we truly, it was such an incredible thing to see you and the run from the, not just you, the entire cast as well, but also truly you. You were such a reason to tune in week over week, and we're so excited to see what else you do going forward.
Oh, thank you, Evan. That's very sweet. Appreciate it.
And we hope we see you in the US. You got that American
Yes,
passport. We want it.
I'm
We want to see you
coming.
precinct in Los Angeles. We want to see you perform in touring.
Will be there. Whereas, yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
I will be drunk at what is it, Arc? I don't know what's
Akbar? Akbar?
Abbey.
Oh, the
Yeah,
Abbey. Yes,
there
the
we
Abbey.
go.
Yeah.
All
Thank you
right.
so much, Lazy. We so appreciate it.
Ciao for
Bye-bye.
now, guys. I'll see you in
Bye.
LA.
All right. Take care. Thank you.